up, Giants fans, Hub watchers, YouTube subscribers, Twitter and Instagram followers? It's Kush back at it again with another New York Giants Just Chillin podcast episode. As y'all can see, I have on the let me move my mic a little bit so you guys can see the Our Way Giants playoff t-shirt. Man, oh man. And I made I wouldn't say I made a mistake when I got it, because they I think they put it out like last week and it only arrived today. Slow shipping from Fanatics, man. Crazy slow shipping from Fanatics. I don't regret the purchase. It was a great season. It's kind of good segue to reflect onto how the season itself went, in my opinion. And in fact, let me actually first and foremost give a shout out to everybody in the chat. Shout out to Sober Party, Luann, Asia, Roberson, and Super Taj. How y'all doing, man? Make sure as you come in, you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button if you're new, and most importantly, hit that share button. But yeah, getting back to the end of the Giants 2022 season and essentially the beginning of the 2023 offseason. If you guys didn't get a chance to check out my video that I put out yesterday, I really cover everything a bit more in depth, but I was really happy with the season that the New York Giants had. And I feel like that, that shouldn't come as a surprise to any of you guys. I feel like most Giants fans, no, scratch that. I feel like all Giants fans should be really happy with the way that the season went. And by the way, guys, let me know if my mic is cutting in or out. Because I had some wire issues a couple days ago, so just let me know if audio and everything is fine. But yeah, we entered the season as one of the favorites to be a team picking in the top 5 at the end of the season. And now we're leaving the season and we have the 25th pick, which is such a tremendous improvement from where we were just a year ago. Very similar team, with the exception of an additional draft class and some small signings that had great value. It's basically the same team as last year that went 4 and 12 or 4 and 13? 4 and 13, right? Because I think we had 17 games last year. Either way, what an improvement in year one of a brand new regime, year one of a brand new general manager in Joe Shane, year one of a first-time head coach in Brian Daboll. Not just a brand new head coach, but a first-time head coach in Brian Daboll. Year one in a first-time offensive coordinator in Mike Kafka, who over the course of the season did show improvement. Year one of a new defensive coordinator, experienced guy in Wink Martindale. Year one for a lot of people. And it just shows how much having good coaching, elite coaching, matters in the NFL. I'll post a stream link right now. Let me copy it here. There it is. Yeah, it just showed so much. It just showed how much coaching matters in the NFL. Everybody talks about getting an elite quarterback, getting an elite wide receiver, and with good reasons. At the end of the day, those are guys on the field that are going to make things happen. But with an elite coach in Brian Daboll, he took a team that was 4 wins, took them to the playoffs, 9-7-1. Could have been, if not for injuries down the stretch, I still believe this, could have been like an 11-win team, which would have been more impressive. But either way, we got into the playoffs. We won a playoff game against a team that was supposedly better than us. Just an improvement of that proportion can't even really be put into words, in my opinion. And I'm just so happy with the Giants 2022 season. Now, the way it came to an end, of course, I wasn't too happy with. I was a little angry because I just hate the Philadelphia Eagles so much. I don't think there's a team I hate more in the world than the Philadelphia Eagles, if I'm being honest with you guys. And I know that they just have us on a gigantic talent gap. That's no secret. Everybody knows that. And that's really what the deciding factor was here, because I think our coaching is even though at points during that specific game, it looked like we were being outcoached at some points. But for the most part, it was just they have way more talent on their roster than we do. That's what it came down to at the end of the day. And that's what made me really so angry. I'm like, I can't stand this team. And here they are whooping us in the divisional round. But that's the only thing I have to be mad or sad about. Everything else, I'm happy. And I got to pop on somebody very special, a long-time channel member and supporter. It's Asia. What up, man? How you doing?
Everything else. What's up, Kush?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm alright.
What up, man? How you doing? Do you have any headphones, Asia? Because I'm hearing a lot of the stream back.
Oh yeah, sorry, I had to mute it.
Okay, it's okay. So how are you feeling with the end of the season?
I'm still part of the Giants. Well, just always got just be strong for next year. We do gotta get some weapons though.
Mm-hmm. Did you get a chance to listen to the ending press conference by Joe Shane and Brian Dable?
No, I didn't.
They were basically talking about how they're going to approach building the team in a very holistic way. A reporter asked specifically about a number one wide receiver, and Joe Shane said he recognizes that's a great need, but he's not like going to force anything. And I'm like, at this point, I just trust whatever he's going to do after a year like this, right? How can you not trust him?
Yeah. So, Coach, who you got in the Super Bowl?
I want the matchup that I wanted last year, which was 49ers Bengals.
That'd be a good one.
Yeah, I'm a really big Joe Burrow fan, man.
Anybody but the Eagles.
Of course. I'm a really big Joe Burrow fan too. So like I kind of want to see him get that first championship. Like he's already proven that he's like a top 3 quarterback in the league at this point. What about you? Who do you have in him?
I'm gonna say Niners, Bengals, or Niners, Chiefs, whatever.
Yeah, just Niners and somebody, right? No Eagles.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm just, man, I can't stand the Eagles, man. And then Nick Sirianni, this man has one of the most punchable faces in the NFL too. It doesn't make a great combination. Doesn't make a great combination at all. How do you think? Who do you think is going to come out the AFC though? Let's focus on something that we don't really have a dog in the fight. Who do you think could come out the AFC?
The Bengals look good right now.
They're definitely the hottest team in football. Yeah, I think they've won like their past 10 straight games or something crazy like that. Or past 11 straight. They've been really, really hot to end the season and now in the postseason. But is there anybody in particular you want, this free agency or this draft, if you got anybody?
I keep hearing DeAndre Hopkins' name. That's going to cost draft picks. So.
And it's going to cost a lot of money, his contract.
Yeah. I know.
What about with Saquon and DJ?
Badger would like that. He love Hopkins.
What about with Saquon and DJ though? Because did you see the report that Saquon turned down a contract already that was team friendly? Yeah, he said that he wanted a team friendly contract, but then he turns down a team friendly contract.
Oh man, they gotta keep Saquon though.
I think if they move on from him,
if they move on to him, they gotta get somebody really good.
I was gonna say this year is one of the better years to do it because apparently this running back draft class is super talented. There's a lot of guys. I haven't taken a look at it yet, but just from what I've heard, there's a good amount of really good running backs in this draft class. They probably take 1 or 2 of.
No, just get DJ some weapons, so he could be like the Eagles.
And that inside offensive line too. We need to fix that. Linebackers is definitely something we got to look at, and then another corner. Like when you look at this team, Asia, you realize, man, we actually have a lot of holes. That's how good our coaching staff was. We won a playoff game, and we have a lot of holes.
And fix that O line, fix that O line. Yo, what'd you see? Did you show that in that Cowboys game, yo?
I'm not even focused on the Cowboys game. The Cowboys official Twitter account, they put Dak in the mud. They tweeted out Dak basically Dak was the reason they lost the game. I'm like, the official Twitter account is doing this? What's happening?
Yo,
I think they're done with him.
They want they want Aaron Rodgers. Like what the heck?
I don't think they're gonna get him because the Packers are trading him exclusively
Nah,
to the
they're not gonna
AFC.
send him to. They're not gonna send him to NFC.
Yeah, I think Aaron is a Jet, which is funny, just like Brett Favre. I think Aaron's gonna be a Jet.
And you see Aaron Rodgers with another team.
Is the only one I could see once again is the Jets. You know, they have wide receivers, they got O line, they clearly got a good defense. Like they're just missing a quarterback.
Then they gonna move on from Zach Wilson.
Oh, 100%. Zach lost his job like 3 times in the past 2 years. I don't, I don't think he's that guy. But yeah, Asia, let me get your last thought. So let's get a quick Giants thought before
All
I get
right,
to the next caller. What you got for me?
Giants.
Yeah, anything related to the Giants.
Mm,
Do we? All right, I got a question for you that you could answer real easy. Is DJ going to reset the quarterback market, or is he going to be on something a bit more cheap in terms of contract?
I think he liked the Giants or whatever. Along if long the contract is fair, he probably will take it.
Got you. Thank you, Asia. It was great talking
All
to you for
right,
the first
no
time, man.
problem.
Long time supporter. I hope
All
everything's
right,
good with your mom too, man.
thank you.
Have a good one.
Hmm.
Guys, the link is pinned in the chat for everybody to call in. Shout out to Hirsch for real, Isaac Moore, Sober Party, Yuvraj and Nova in here. Taj, what's up, man? How you doing?
What's good, Kush, man? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How were you feeling after that loss? First things first. Like right after.
Hey, I know it sucks that we lost to the Eagles. You mean, of course, you mean, like it sucks the way how we lost. But at the same time, I'm not really tripping because with the expectations that we had going into the season,
Hmm.
yeah, like this season was basically a success. Like you mean like most people thought we was gonna win like what like 4 or 5 games at best, like at most. Because
Hmm.
you mean because like, everyone thought that that Daniel Jones wasn't gonna be the guy. He ended up being the guy with the improvements that he's made. Saquon Barkley being back to his old self after like 2 injury riddled seasons that he's had. And And yeah, like despite all the holes that we have in this roster, which we're definitely gonna fill in. Brian Dable, man, like I mean, he's just like one hell of a coach, man. To be winning all these games
I
with
mean, he's got to be coach of the year, right?
yeah, for sure. Like either him, you could say Doug Peterson and Nick Sirianni, but yeah, like yeah,
I mean, like
in my
let's
opinion,
compare. I was gonna say let's compare Peterson and Dable because I think honestly Peterson is the only one you could really make another argument for. People want to throw Kyle Shanahan in there, but the man has one of the best rosters in the league. So
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
the reason I'm bringing up Peterson is because like they went from the first overall pick to a playoff win as well.
For
But
2 years, they were the number one overall pick.
yeah,
Yeah,
but I just
to
got one
win
question,
MVP.
and I want you to really think about it and break it down. Who do you think is a more talented team, the Giants or the Jaguars? Personnel,
Mm.
on the team, players. Who do you think is more talented?
I would say the Jaguars because I mean, for number one, they got the better linebackers, of course,
They got the
on the
better
defense.
receiving weapons too.
Yeah, yeah, better receiving weapons, better linebackers. Um, Cornerback. I'm not like I don't know. You mean too much about their cornerbacks, but I'm gonna say it's a wash between the two. Um, you could argue, you mean they have a better quarterback, with Trevor Lawrence. But I mean, yeah, yeah, I think the Jaguars is like has like the better roster than us.
And that's why I think Dable gets coach of the year, man. I agree with you. I feel like immediately, it's no question they got better receiving core. Uh, even though we hate Evan Ingram, at this point in their careers, Evan Ingram is a better tight end than Dan Bellinger. At this point in their careers, don't kill
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he's
for
a form, like
sure.
he was literally with us for so many years. But they got the better receiving weapons. They have the better linebacking core. Their line at least performed better than us did. And I said this in my video yesterday. We could talk about this if you want, where I was like, I was looking suspect at Bobby Johnson from the moment we hired him, just because he was the only name that I was like, I'm not
Yeah,
too sure
and
about.
yeah,
And
and
bro,
and I yeah.
on paper, he should have done more with what he had, and he's the only position coach that did less with what he had.
Yeah, and I'm starting to like you mean to feel like skeptical about Bobby Johnson because I think you mean him like coaching was like part of like Evan Neal's um was like part of like Evan Neal just like not developing correctly. Because with the way like how his technique has looked all season long, just like yeah,
Mhm.
like I don't to be honest though, I don't think him and Bobby Johnson really um got along with each other. I don't think so.
Is there any like actual like reports to that or?
No, well, no, well, there's like probably like not like any reports, but I don't know
Nah, student
I'm
of the
not
game.
sure
Real quick, I think student of
how
the game
much of it that's.
misinterpreted what we said, Taj. We said the Jags are a more talented team, not that they were necessarily a better team. I'm talking
Yeah,
just
no,
just player wise, and
yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I
player
think
wise,
Dable is coach of the year over Doug Peterson. Like they have more talent on their team, but our coaching allowed us to still beat them. Like that's what I'm saying. I'm sorry to cut you off. Continue, bro.
yeah. If somebody said Evan Neal's good, Bobby Johnson's just very damn stubborn. Yeah, yeah, I agree. Yeah. I don't think at this point is looking like Bobby Johnson. You mean was a good hire at all? Like you mean I'm pretty sure Bills fans was happy um that he was out of Buffalo and
Yeah,
um and it showed.
I remember when we hired Wink, for example, how like sad Ravens fans were. And I almost remember when we hired a defensive line coach from the Vikings. They were sad too because they wanted him to be their
Hmm.
next
Yeah,
defensive coordinator because he's been there for years. And it's like every coach that we hired was something positive when you look back at that famous. When we hired Bobby Johnson, it was kind of quiet. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's kind of quiet. And like,
I thought
and then
he'd
you
be a
then I
solid
looked
coach,
at
but
yeah, and then I looked at the way the Bills' offensive lines rankings were in the past, and I'm like, this is all right. It doesn't really blow me out of the water, but for that alone, I was suspect. And I don't want to put all of Evan Neal's struggles on him, but once again, when I look at the offensive line, I'm like, we have one of the best left tackles in the league in Andrew Thomas. We have a right
that's
tackle
it.
that's supposed to be very good off the bat. He wasn't. We have a center that's average. He's above average in the run game, below average in the pass game. So he's just an overall average offensive lineman. We have a right guard that was really good last year, and he was really bad this year. So it's like, what happened?
It may be because of coaching. I'm gonna be honest. It may be just. I mean, it could be just because of coaching. Well, I mean, like at least me, we got Andrew Thomas. You mean who's a finished product. You mean and he's turned out to be pretty doggone good. You mean
Mhm.
like he was second team All Pro this year. So I mean like everything else in that O line, yeah, something's gotta you mean tick.
Mhm.
Yeah, something's
Um,
gotta tick, man.
what do you think we're doing with DJ's contract, man? Okay, no. Saquon, because I'm sure you saw the tweet. Saquon in the like, was it the post game presser? I think or something like that, or it was like right after, if not
Mm-hmm.
immediately after, it was like a day or so after. With the the reporters, he's like he's not looking to reset the market. But now you got very credible reporters saying, I think it was Rob Vacchiano that was like he turned down a $12 million annual deal, which would have been team friendly. And if you're looking for anything above that, you kind of are looking to reset the market. What you think about that whole situation?
Well, I would say you mean like he may not be just like necessarily resetting the market, but I would say he's just like trying to like get like near like as much money as like Chris McCaffrey and Alvin Kamara got, but I mean like if that's what Saquon is just like trying to look for, I'm gonna be honest, I would just mean just either let him walk or just like try to get something back for him, basically just like tag and trade him.
Hmm. You would rather do a tag and trade than try and just kind of let him walk and just, I guess, well, even in that situation, you'd probably draft somebody coming up right now. Who would you
Yeah.
think, the Bills is a popular team for like the past couple of years that people are saying Saquon could go to? Like, is there any other team, or are you just thinking the Bills might want to trade for him?
I think I got like a few teams. I got the Bills, I got the Chiefs, and I got the Dolphins that could trade up for Saquon.
Ooh, Dolphins is a good one. Chiefs is one I could see as well because they've taken on a couple of like previously elite running backs that had like a second home. What's his name was there from Cleveland, Kareem Hunt. They had
Kareem Hunt,
Lev Bell
yeah.
at one point too, right?
Yeah, who?
The Chiefs. They had Le'Veon Bell at one point, right?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Exactly. So I could see that. And let me get this right here from the chat. It's just saying DJ King. We gonna get to DJ. Nova says Lewinsky was mid to start the season with the Colts last season too. But at the end of the season, he had a very good season over his past couple years with the Colts. I feel fair in saying that he had like a bad season or below average with us. Like it was below expectations, is what I'll say. Student of the game says, "What do you think of Jordan Addison?" I haven't started looking at the any college prospects yet. Now that the season is over, when I got time, I will. Have you had a chance to look at Jordan Addison, Taj?
I think Jordan Addison is a good prospect. But honestly, the wide receivers in the draft that I'm like looking forward to is well, one is Rasheed Rice from SMU. Um, I think you mean Rasheed Rice from SMU. Like he has a pretty high ceiling and a pretty high floor as well. Because I could see him with a very good release, very good route running, and some good speed in him too. So like I think he could fit under Brian Dable's offense very well.
Well, where is he projected to go right now?
Um, right now, I would say in the second round, but I think like once like the draft combine, the Senior Bowl, and all that stuff is like done, I'm pretty sure his draft stock will rise up because I really think you mean like with his high ceiling, I think you mean I kind of look at him as like you mean really like a first round talent.
Mm-hmm. Got you. What does he bring to the table? Is he like a possession guy? Is he a big body guy? A fast guy? Tell me about him.
Well, I would say he's like I would say I mean well, he's not like a receiver like Kenny Golladay. You mean to where like all he does at best is like catch 50-50 balls, but nah, like like because like he has like very good route running, he has a very good release in him. Like he does. I mean, bringing some speed in him too, and he's got like a good size of a wide receiver that you would want to have. And yeah, I think you mean like to a player comp that I would say he kind of reminds me of. I say he kind of reminds me of like CeeDee Lamb a little bit.
Mm-hmm. And CD is somebody right now that a lot of people I think CD is a number one wide receiver. A lot of people are debating whether he's a one or if he needs somebody still like Amari on there. But yeah,
Hmm.
let me get a couple more comments right here. Juicy Whitman says tagged. Can't let him walk as will be in the vision. If we let him walk, I don't know if Saquon will go in the vision. Maybe I have too much faith in him, but yeah. Let's see. Asia said they probably tag Saquon.
Yeah, I think so too.
Juicy says he walks and then we have to watch him turn into Boston Scott 2.0. Bokar says the Bears as a possible destination, for a tag and trade.
Yeah,
Shout out to
yeah,
Island
yeah,
Boy. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I don't think they want to
The
continue
Bears is
running.
yeah.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I think the Bears is like a possible destination too. But I think what the Bears need to do more is to go get some wide receivers and fix that O line for Justin Fields
Oh,
more
O
than
line
like
first,
them is like
100%. You don't want an
yeah.
Andrew Luck situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Rams, I don't know. I think the Rams are trying to rebuild. I don't know if they necessarily need more contracts like that. Shout
Nah,
out
I
to
don't think
Nelson in
so.
here and Jacob. But it's Taj, let me get your last thought before I pop on the next caller, man. Off season, anything in the off season will be your last thought, or what's up with it?
Hopefully we make some good moves. Like not like you mean like some big splash moves like in free agency because like we're most likely not gonna be that type of team to like make like splashy moves in free agency. So hopefully, like we can make some good moves to put in our depth and we could draft well once again.
Got you. What position you want to take in the first round right now?
Um, I go with either linebacker or wide receiver. I'm really leaning towards uh I'm leaning towards linebacker.
Got you. Middle linebacker, I'm assuming. And like I said, I
Yeah,
have
middle
no knowledge
linebacker.
on the current draft class, so hopefully there's somebody good there. Anybody got your eye on, particularly for middle linebacker?
Um, but I know there's like this one dude from Clemson. I think he's very good. I forgot his name, but I've heard about him. Like he's like a good he's a good run stopper that could like stuff the run.
Hmm.
And another linebacker that I've also heard of was Noah Sewell from Oregon, Penei Sewell's brother.
Yeah.
Um,
Heard of him
yeah, I
since
think
Panay was being drafted.
yeah, I think he could be like a good pass coverage linebacker.
Got you. Got you. And that's something we haven't had in a minute. So that will always be nice. But
Yeah,
Taj, thank you for calling in, man. It's been great as usual. I think good times are ahead. Have a good one, man.
yeah, man. Future is bright. Go Big Blue.
Go Big Blue. Nova, how were you feeling immediately after the game before we get into anything else?
Damn, you want my feelings right after the game?
Yeah, immediately.
Feelings after the game was what the fuck was that? To be honest, but I mean, I'm kind of past that already. I mean, like I said, I figured they were gonna lose that game anyhow, but I'm just very disappointed, obviously, with the way that turned out. So that's about it. I mean, now you know what really disappointed me, and this might sound crazy, like to say, because it's like, well, you know, if you are active in this at all, it's like, how can you be disappointed in this? I was real disappointed with the fan base, like on Twitter afterwards, though. Like the days following, I'm like, y'all are just tweaking right now. You need to chill
What they do?
because, man, like, oh, and by the way, I'm playing something right now, so I don't think it'll pick it up. But if the tapping of buttons and stuff starts getting too loud in the mic and annoying, just let me know, and I could
I don't
move
hear
stuff
that, but
away.
I hear like an electronic sound, bro. Like an electronic fast beeping.
A fast beeping,
Yeah, it sounds like a bomb about to go off.
for real?
Yeah, I'm not
I
even
don't know.
joking.
I don't know what that could be. Damn. Hold on. Let me see
That's
if I can
weird.
do something about that. I don't know what
While
that
you
could be
do
at all.
that, let me see. Shout out to Jacob. He says, "Do you think we draft a quarterback if Jones walks?" I think, and Joe Shane doesn't give us a lot in his press conferences, but I think he's going to do exactly what he said, and that is build the team holistically. So I know that doesn't necessarily answer your question, but if drafting a quarterback means that they won't be able to build a team holistically, at least right now, then they won't. But if they can draft a QB at some point in the draft that they believe can be their guy, then they will. Like, I know that's an annoying answer, but I really believe Joe Shane when he says he's gonna build the team holistically. Shout out to the Knicks being the Cavs. Go ahead, Donova.
Did that beeping stop or
Nah, it's still there.
what the hell?
Do you
Let
have
me,
a fan on?
Nah.
It's all right, bro. We'll just pretend that there's not a bomb about to go off.
Whoa. I mean,
Oh, it's gone. It stopped. Nova, are you there? All right, now we can't hear him at all if he's speaking. So
we can talk about like things that.
Wow. I just want to say, I don't know if you were talking at all just now, but there were no sound coming from you, including no beeping. I don't know what happened, but I do
Can
got.
you hear me now, then?
Yeah, I can hear you now though.
I don't know what the hell going on.
To get off the beeping and to get on the Giants. Yeah. You were saying, what was Giants Twitter doing?
Yeah, I was just saying they were going crazy, but I was saying if you want to talk about like thoughts on the game period, I feel like we can talk about a million things that went wrong because there's a lot of stuff I didn't like, and there's a lot of things I saw. I think you even touched on it in your video where it's like, I kind of disagree with some of the stuff the coaching staff was doing. But it's hard to really like rag on just one thing. I'd say if one player that definitely disappointed me, like in particular, because they just stood out with how bad they were playing, was Julian Love, bro. I was like, Love, like, what are you doing? Like, this man was missing tackles. He was getting beat deep in coverage. He dropped the interception. I was like, this is not this guy's day to day. But yeah, like I think I can't remember if you mentioned it in your video. I think you did. But it's like why did they like just not give Saquon the rock at all? Like they
didn't.
Like,
I think he only had
the ball, like
9 or 10 carries total.
Yeah, he only had 9 carries, and it's not
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it's not like they were like really like stuffing him. Like he was picking apart like their rush defense.
Yeah,
like,
when he got carries, he was doing well. And so I gotta there was a comment on that video that said it was talking about my point of I felt like at times during the game we were being outcoached, and I feel like that's something very fair to say, because we were outcoached. We were outcoached in the game. We were out talented. We were outcoached. It was just a better team. And I didn't respond to the comment because I'm like, my response is too long to put into a text, reply on YouTube. But one way we got our coach was Mike Kafka for some reason reverted to one of my least favorite versions of Mike Kafka. That's week 3, like against the Dallas Cowboys, which happened multiple times during the season. Like he's still a first-year offensive coordinator. Maybe, after this year he doesn't do it again, but he didn't stick to what works against the Eagles. When Saquon got the ball against the Eagles, he was actually getting through the line. He was getting 4 or 5 yards. He was doing very well. It was the more consistent thing versus the passing game where Daniel looked a little shaken up. Daniel had a bad game. Like, he didn't have a terrible game. And I feel so like, even when I say Daniel has a bad game, I feel like people are going to come at me in the comments or the chat because I'm not saying Daniel's a bad player. It's just he had a bad game. If you go back and look at it, it's
Jones
like
didn't play good either, and that was
he didn't
thing.
And it's a team loss. I guess I should preface everything by saying it's a team loss. But getting back to Kafka, I don't want to get too off topic here. That's one way we got our coach. He didn't stick to the run with Saquon Barkley or even with Matt Breida. Like, they involved Breida very well the week previously against the Vikings, and that was nowhere to be seen this week. The only part of the Eagles defense that has a weakness, if you want to call it that, is their rushing defense. They were ranked 14th in the league against the run, and everywhere else they were top 5. So why aren't you running the ball against them?
Yeah, I mean that was like the main thing I was.
And that's from and it's like that's from the beginning of the game too. I don't want to. And then I just saw Mark say it's hard to run the ball when you're getting killed. You could have ran it before you were getting killed, before they went up 14-0, before they went up 21-0. Like, you could have ran it from jump street.
Saquon had, I think, 3 carries in the first half only. Like, that's inexcusable. And I think it was something I was saying.
And I'm sorry, I don't want to cut you off again, though, but that's how Washington beat the Eagles, by the way, when they
Yeah.
beat them, is because they had time of possession. And you know how they got time of possession? They ran the ball
Yeah, they
and ran very slow, long developing plays that just takes time off the clock.
pounded the
That's
rock.
how.
Like, it
And now
ain't that
I'm not
hard.
saying any of this to bash any of our coordinators or our team, because I know there's people going to take it as that. Nah, I like Mike Kafka a lot. He had a great first year as an offensive coordinator. There's going to be mistakes. Without a shadow of a doubt, I want him back. But I
Me
feel like
too. I
we
hope he
need
don't get
to
one of
take a
these
step back
jobs.
and realize that there are things that can be criticized in a loss. I'm not criticizing the season. We had a successful season. I said it from the beginning, way beyond anybody's expectations. We need to stop acting as if everything's criticism free.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Yeah, I mean, like you said, like hitting on the staff, like I felt like they all did really, really questionable, like things that were just sus. I felt like they kind of just like it felt like they gave up. Like I don't want to say that, but it's like I just didn't. They came up. This game really felt like like the past few seasons where like we would play like the Cowboys on Monday Night Football, and you just know the team is just gonna come out flat, and they just like instantly just look like they can't do anything right. It just looked like that. And then going back to Daniel Jones, where it's like, yeah, I'm not critiquing him. I think Daniel Jones had a great season, all things considered, and I
And he's
definitely
gonna
want
be
him back for
back. He
sure. And
deserves to
he
be
is
back
coming back.
next
Yeah,
year.
he is coming back. I don't know why people even need to question this. Daniel Jones is going to be the quarterback of the Giants probably for the next few seasons. But he didn't play good. I mean, that pick he threw, that Bradbury call, I mean, that was like a vintage like James Bradbury interception, but it's like you got to kind of be a little more alert than that, Jones. Like that he's trying to bait you. They already know that we're going to that stick concept, and then he did it, and then he had Slayton open on that bomb because he had
Oh,
Bradbury deep.
100%. Yeah, of
And
course the defense. I just want to highlight this. Of course, the defense has disappointed me as well. Like the only
they
reason I
were the
didn't talk
worst.
about it that
They were
much
the
is
worst.
because like that's the obvious thing. Yeah, I mean the
Yeah,
defense allowed the Eagles to go up 21-28 zip.
bro.
100% they were a disappointment.
It's funny because I watched this game. I went over to my dad's house. He invited his one friend that's an Eagles fan. I got a real close friend that's a big Eagles fan. And then we had like some of our boys and my brother and my cousin were there. Like we were all watching the game. And I'm besides me and my one friend that's like a real big Eagles fan, we're probably the only two like there that really like watch football, like like very closely. And the rest of them they kind of just tune in here and there.
Mhm.
But especially like once the Giants already just started getting waxed, like I was telling them, like pointing out very specific players, and I was like, watch what this guy does in this play, and I bet you any money if this happens, it's gonna be because of this. And the amount of times I pointed out Jalen Smith, and I was like, just watch this guy, just watch him play. Look how slow he is to his gaps. The one that killed me was like, I think it was Kenneth Gainwell. He popped like a 20-yard run off the middle. Like Jalen Smith is just standing there watching this man get the ball, and you can see the hole like a whole 5 seconds before he hits it. And it's like, bro, why are you just standing there? Go like fill your gap and hit the ball carrier. And then like the defense was just hitting like paper. Like I think they had like 15 missed tackles I saw on Twitter. It was like their season high. Like it was just a bad game. Like we can talk about it here forever. Like I think Wink was playing kind of scared. I don't think he was putting enough pressure, and like I think he was having the corners play too far back off of the receivers. Like we can criticize a bunch of stuff on the coaching staff and the players
But
all day
that's not what
long,
we're here to
honestly.
do. I
But
just I
yeah,
just wanted to bring that
exactly,
up because I
exactly.
feel like once again fans like we need to realize that things are not perfect, right? And
Yeah.
I feel like this is a good segue to the off season. And
Mm-hmm.
just to reiterate, of course, Brian Dable and his coaching staff did an amazing job. He took a 4-win team, turned it into a 9-win team that won a playoff game. That can't be understated. Coach of the year. If there was an award for coaching staff of the year, they have it as well. But
Facts.
when now going back and looking at the personnel, you're like, wow, it's more impressive the job they did because we actually have a good amount of holes to fill. So go ahead wherever you
Yeah.
want to pick up with that, Nova.
Well, in terms of filling holes, like this is and the debates are already ramping up on all the Twitter spaces, in terms of what we want to do with our free agents and how we attack the draft. The one thing I kind of want to touch on, because I haven't seen too many people talking about it, because I guess right now the Giants technically have 9 picks, but it would be 11 because the 2 comp or whatever they are from Kadarius
Mhm.
Toney. I'm not too sure on what it is. But for the sake of the argument, let's say if it is the maximum at 11, do you feel it's necessary for them to use all 11 of those picks, or do you think that Joe Shane should do something where he should try to, because they're gonna, our first round pick is late, it's 25. So do you think that he should try to, use some of those picks to trade up, or maybe even trade in other rounds, or maybe bundle them and go out for like a player, like a receiver or a linebacker or something that's already
Nah,
established in the league?
I think they should stay the course. I think they should really stay the course. And going by Shane's word, if you want to build the team holistically, I don't think you're necessarily giving up major picks or a major package to get somebody, because he said it himself. It's not like this team is one player away. Like he said, I
Yeah,
do not
definitely not.
believe a team is one player away. We are several players, several spots away from being like, a true Super Bowl contender. So for
Yeah.
that reason alone, I don't think we should give up picks or spots. And also at 25, yeah, it's late in the first round, but if you're a good GM,
It's
which I
still a
believe
first
Joe
round
Shane
pick,
is,
yeah.
yeah, it's still a first round pick. You could still get a first round talent at pick 25, especially if they're thinking receiver. You guys know for 2 years now, I've been on the train of you could get a receiver all the way up to the
Yeah,
fourth
receiver
round at this
honestly
point.
anywhere, yeah.
Receivers
That's
are
what
packed.
when you asked earlier if you rather go for the linebacker or the receiver, if they're gonna go either one, which is kind of where I'm leaning for like a first round player, I'd much rather get a linebacker just
I'm low key
because.
leaning cornerback. I feel like everybody's forgetting we still need another corner on this
Yeah,
team. But like I
corner
said,
too.
I haven't looked at the prospects yet, so I don't know, where the chips may fall, where they're gonna fly. Shout out to
My thing
JP
is,
1880 real quick. Is that a brand new member? Shout out to JP 1880, man. Oh, and this is why I need to check YouTube instead of StreamYard. Shout out to Nikki. Thank you so much for 5 memberships. I didn't know you could do that. That's a whatchamacallit. That's a Twitch thing that they brought over. I'm pretty sure.
oh,
But hey man, thank you, Nikki. I appreciate it so much. You're absolutely love Nikki. My first ever member. Will never forget it. And now you got people basically as a gifted membership. I wonder how long that lasts. Hey, and shout out to Sabrina in here as well. But that's pretty cool. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry I cut you off. I never knew that existed.
no, you're good. You're good. Yeah, touching more on the draft. I see somebody in the chat here saying too that remember that they traded back in the last few rounds, but then that brings me to kind of there too. So okay, if we're gonna go win with 11 picks already, do you think Joe Shane trades back to acquire even more picks? Like at some point, like how many
I
how
thought we
many
had
draft
9
picks are we
picks.
gonna get for one? That's what I was saying.
Am I
I think
mistaken?
it's
Yeah.
9, but I think there's like 2 comp or something like that for Kadarius Toney. Because I if I remember correctly, the 9 picks are
Do you
there
still get a
already,
comp
and
pick
then
though if you traded away the player? I don't think that makes any sense.
I don't know. Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. I know there's like confusion of it. I gotta look into it. But I
I'm
remember seeing
yeah.
a lot of people saying, yeah, see somebody in the chat just said that
Yeah,
we got
Jacob
11.
says 11.
Because
I'm gonna have to
they
look that up
acquired 2
because
from Tony.
yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up because it just doesn't make sense. The 2 we acquired from Tony though, Nova, would be like 7 plus 2 equals 9.
7 plus 2, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I don't think we're getting a compensatory pick because we actually traded him away. It's not like he left in free agency.
No,
You know
yeah,
what I
they're
mean?
saying we have 2 comp picks. They said comps from Ingram and someone
Oh,
else.
there it is. Yeah, Ingram. Was it
Yeah,
Dalvin?
maybe. So yeah, so maybe
That
we
it?
do
Or
have
BJ
total of
Hill?
11 then.
But we also traded. I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
Ingram and Bradbury, they said.
Oh, Ingram and Bradbury. Okay, that makes more sense. Bradbury for sure. I think we're gonna get. Oh yeah, for both of them, they were both part of playoff teams. I think. Damn, 11 picks. Like,
Yeah,
it's more tempting to probably trade up, but like
that's what I'm saying. Like, and somebody's
it
talking about
is.
trading
But
back. I'm like, damn, how many picks do you want? You want 13
yeah, I don't
rookies
know
on the
about
team?
trade back, but
Jesus.
now that we have 11, it makes me look twice at trading up. But once
Mhm.
again, I'm like, I got faith in Joe Shane. I don't think he needs to trade up. But if there's like somebody undeniable, and we'll see maybe in 2-3 months through the draft process,
Yeah.
there is going to be somebody undeniable. Maybe there's just a middle linebacker that's so good that you have to go up and get him. We'll see.
Yeah, like
But
I'm
I
not
think it's fine if
against
we
like
stay with the
bundling 2 to
11.
move up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
But go ahead. Shout out
go
to El Jefe in the chat.
FA. No, like so that's kind of just my thoughts on the draft as far as like drafting to get more players in. But free agency, yeah, like we already said Jones is coming back. I know everybody's very split on the Barkley thing. Here's what I don't like, right? I see too many fans that are kind of like, oh, Jermaine Johnson, yeah.
Yeah,
I
they're
see too
saying
many
like, yeah,
fans.
Jermaine fell way fall. I remember in last year's draft.
Yeah. there are so many fans that are like, they're just so excited, like at the, the idea that, oh, Saquon Barkley can be gone from this team. Yes, please do it. And it's like, why do you guys want to get rid of him so bad? I get if the contract isn't like, if it
Because
doesn't
some
make
fans
sense,
think he's a
but
mascot. That's why.
yeah, like it's like I don't like fans are so weird. They always want to get rid of like players that are so vital to the team. And it's I honestly, again, I don't know, because I do trust Joe Shane and Brian Dable. But do you really think the team is gonna get better next season if Saquon isn't here? Like,
If they draft one or two good running backs, then yeah. I mean, listen, Saquon is gonna be a huge loss. And you're speaking to, I've said it several times, the biggest Saquon Barkley fan probably on YouTube.
mhm,
Like, the whole reason I started my channel was because the Giants drafted Saquon Barkley. That's
yeah,
just how much of a fan I was of him at the time, along with being a fan of the Giants. If Saquon leaves, I don't think the biggest hit would be on the field. I think it would be them kind of gaining back the locker room, because he is a huge locker room leader. Like, the guys love him. He's the
mhm.
face of the franchise, whether some people want to admit it or not right now. He's the face of the
Yeah,
Giants
he
franchise.
is. And that's
But if
another thing they don't talk about too,
yeah,
because he can make the Giants a more attractive destination for, like, potential players that would want to come here and stuff like
yeah.
that. Like,
But of course,
there's a
like
lot of stuff people don't think about.
we have to address the elephant in the room. That is, like, he is basically demanding to reset the running back market, and we can't afford to do that. Like, we're not in a position as a team to afford to do that, because it goes back to the point that we're not just a player away from being a
Yeah,
legit Super Bowl contender. And that's a move you make when you're a player or maybe two players away. But getting back to it, if what I'm hearing about this running back class is true, and honestly, I don't find it that hard to believe, because we're seeing it every year now, that you can get like 1,000-yard rusher or a really good playmaker at the position in the draft,
mhm,
and they replace him with it. I don't think it's going to be Saquon Barkley level, because he's like a top 3 running back in the league, but you could probably get a top 10 rusher in the league every single
yeah,
year. Like, a good amount of that top 10 rusher list there's some rookies in there. And if we do that, and with this draft class or whatever offseason moves they make, they fill in a couple other holes, yeah, we'll be better. We took a big hit in losing Saquon, gain some of it back by getting a young running back, and then gain even a lot more by possibly fixing the linebacking core or getting another corner. So, like, I think we could only go up from here no matter what we do.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get that perspective too. I guess like another thing to ask on it is like what would be breaking the bank for you on Saquon? Like what is your walkaway number? They asked Joe Shane that question in the presser.
And yeah, he didn't answer. My walkaway number is not far from what they offered him. It's like 13 million,
Yeah, that's
and they
where
offered
I
him
go
12.
to. Like, so
Like,
you
if you
walk
want
away
more than
from
13, I gotta go, bro.
okay, yeah, because that's where I'm at. I'm like 13, like 13. I guess like under 14, like 13 is like a good thing. But I really don't see Saquon like turning that down. I don't know,
But I
because
mean, he
like I
turned
told
down
you even in
12.
that tweet, but we don't know like what the exact logistics behind all that were
That's
though.
true. That's
Like,
true. Like, maybe it's some funky. I don't know. But Nova, thank you for calling in, man. I'm gonna have to pop on Chris next. Let me
yeah,
get
no
your last thought,
problem.
a positive one, if there is any.
Positive one, nah. Like our future is bright. Like I think we will never have to worry about the Giants just being like insufferable and just completely trash and having our season over like 3 weeks into it, like ever again under this regime. Even if they don't have like amazing seasons for a few more years to come, I think we're gonna have like a respectable competitive football team that at least can, win most of their games and contend for the playoffs and probably win playoff games here and there, which is I'm honestly like, I would love to win a Super Bowl again because it's been so long since I've seen it. But I'm also not completely deprived. They have won twice in my lifetime, so it's not like I'm a Cowboys fan or something. So even if this new regime, fails and never does get us another championship, as long as they're here, if they just keep us a competitive team that ends the season with winning records and makes the playoffs, like more often than not, I'll be very happy. Just being able to have fun watching the Giants again. So
And I agree with that, and I definitely think the future is bright. I think, maybe a little too much fade, but I could see us being in a Super Bowl within the next 3 years. Just being there. I could see that happening. But Nova,
we'll
thank you for
see.
calling in, man. I
Yeah,
know
take
you
care,
sound
man.
skeptical. Have a good one. Before I pop in, Chris, real quick, some comments from the chat. I'm guessing you guys are talking about draft prospects here, specifically running back. Bilal Robinson, Jamar Gibbs. Let's see here. What up, Matthew? How you doing? Asia says that's why they're trying to get him signed. Yeah, he's a huge part of the team. He said he doesn't want to reset the market, but then he turns down a contract that is kind of team friendly, you know? OBJ coming home, we'll see. He's basically turned into a regular free agent at this point. JP 1880 says his walkaway is 14-ish. The tag, I'll have to check what the running back tag is around. Jacob's saying it's around 10, so we'll see. DB from EP says grab Kareem Hunt and call it a day. If we end up replacing Saquon, I'd much rather go in the draft than, somebody that already has some mileage on their legs. And what up, A Pizzle? How you doing? Let me pop in. Chris, how are you doing, man? What's up?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. Now I'm going to ask you a question that I know you weren't doing well immediately after the Eagles game. How were you doing?
Not well. I said I was going to watch the whole game, and then we got down into a 28-point hole, and I just could not. I didn't even watch the second half of that game. I couldn't. I couldn't bring myself to do it. It hurt. And if it could be any team, but the Eagles, it just stings a little bit more, But they obviously have a better team. I heard we got outcoached. I saw we got outcoached the first half. Second half, what are you going to do? From that deficit, it's not like we have any firepower on offense, really. Aside from Saquon, and he's been pretty decent, but running back can only do so much.
Yeah. I like how this has turned into almost a Saquon Barkley contract type stream for a second.
It makes sense.
It's also very recent.
It's on the mind, right? Yeah.
It's very recent news, yeah.
I think they're going to wind up signing Jones. I think it's going to wind up being around 30 mil.
30 mil.
For 3 years. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm very okay with 30 mil. I'm not okay with anything above the franchise tag, if I'm being honest. Or maybe not. I am okay with some things above the franchise tag. I would say I'm not okay with anything above 38 to 40. That's my upper limit. 38 to 40.
If the Giants were to give him that much money, that would mean that someone else might want to. And if that were the case, for the franchise tag, if you franchise tag a player, can't another team trade for 2 draft picks for the player, 2 first rounders? Isn't that how that works? I think I heard something like that recently.
I would have to check because now I also got to check on the comp pick situation that the chat brought up.
I think we have 9 picks, maybe 9 or 10. I don't think we have 11. That comp pick was the Chiefs comp pick that we got from them, but it's a real pick. It's not like it's a potential pick. It is that set pick. In the after the third round is over, in the comp section of the third round. Yeah. So Saquon, I'd like him. 12 mil sounds good. 14 doesn't, but we'll see what the coaching staff does. Joe Shane didn't sound like he was.
Do you think there's a team that might throw him a bag? Do you think that's a thing, or do you think teams are just like the Giants, where we've seen you've had 3 good years and 2 injury riddled years?
I could see the Bills picking him up. I could see a team that is already ready to roll might pick up Saquon for 14 mil.
14, but 14 mil isn't resetting the market. I guess what I was asking is, do you see a team kind of matching
the bat? How much is McCaffrey getting? 15, 16? 16?
Yeah. So do you see there's a chance any team gives him
just gives him
17?
16 or 17? 17.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to pay him more than McCaffrey. And if they do, then I think they're making a mistake. Not that I think that Saquon's a bad player by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think that if you're paying a running back that much money, you want to win the Super Bowl immediately. Because it's as people call it, a luxury pick, and it kind of is. Teams that win the Super Bowl don't necessarily need a really great running back. I don't think they really ever have. When you think about the greatest running backs of all time, how many Super Bowls do they have?
But let's see who's at the top of the list.
Adrian Peterson,
Walter Payton. Walter Payton, Barry Sanders.
I don't think I heard a ring yet.
I guess the only one that has a ring that is in that top 10 list is Emmitt Smith.
Yeah.
He'd be the only one. I have to run down that list and see.
But yeah.
I was gonna ask, how did you interpret it though when the report came out that it says that he turned down the 12 million. What were
I
your
don't-
thoughts at that point?
And if he did, I mean, my initial reaction is he's not going to be on the team. But
Mhm.
just because I don't think that Joe Shane is going to.
All right, hold up. Is Marshawn Lynch like a top 10 running back of all time?
He's a great.
He was
running back.
great. He
But I don't
was
know if
great. I don't know if
he's
he's
very
top
good.
10. Same thing with Ray Rice, and all the domestic violence stuff there too. I don't think any of those guys are like top 10 running backs.
They were good
I'm
running
wrong
backs.
about that.
They were
They
good
were
running
good,
backs. And were they? Was Marshawn Lynch on a second contract?
Marshawn, yeah, I think he was because he was with the Bills.
Ray
first,
Rice
right?
wasn't, right? He was on his first contract. He should have been, right?
I have to check. I think Rice was on his first, but Marshawn was on the Bills before he was with the Seahawks.
Mm-hmm. But what draft pick? Well, like, was he? He wasn't a high draft pick, right?
I don't even think it matters, yo.
Basically, they weren't handing him the percentage wise the amount of money that
Yeah.
these running backs are getting.
This is not a bad suggestion. It was like it could be a situation where he wanted more years and not more money when he turned down that contract.
Okay, yeah, but that's
Now
another part
I would
of it,
love
right?
if that's the case.
Yeah, if it's a reasonable amount of money, they could maybe get it squared away. That'd be good.
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to probably having Jones back and getting him a wide receiver in whichever facet they decide. I don't think they're going to want him trading for one this year, maybe next year, maybe this year, though. That'd be fun. That'd be exciting to get an established wide receiver on the team. But with the amount of draft capital we have, I think Joe Shane's just going to go to town. I think grabbing 2 wide receivers is pretty key in this draft, and grabbing 2 wide receivers before day 3. That's the way I would approach it, because you got to take 2. You're gambling every time you're taking a shot on a player. It's not guaranteed that they're going to be a Hall of Famer, right?
Yeah.
So you got to take. That's why it's good to have all the draft capital. And Kadarius Toney didn't pan out for us, so and Kenny Galladay didn't pan out for us, so. And then, who is it? Wan'Dale Robinson tore his ACL. Hopefully, he should be healthy for the middle of next season. But I can't expect him to really do that much a year off of the ACL. It's really a 2024 season that we might see him have some good playing time. But maybe he'll do well right out after it. But everything I've heard.
Pivoting to now Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Where you already said 3 years, 30 million is what you said, right?
Yeah. So 90 million for 3 years, or maybe 100 million for 3 years, but it's 95 maybe around that.
Years wise, though, I'm noticing you keep saying 3 years, so you don't know if he's you don't know if he's a long term solution, is what you're suggesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think they know either, and I think that's a very key point. I think they know that they like him a lot and that he can improve and he can be better with better tools, but in order to keep there's a very clear messaging that they want to stay on track. You're not going to stay on track by paying a quarterback that has had probably half, maybe 3/4 of a quality season, really big quarterback money. Like it's going to be around the Kirk Cousins, Ryan Tannehill level. I don't think it's going to be around the Mahomes or the Watson or the Rodgers is making $50 million a year right now. So,
Eric Dickerson, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a top 10 running back all time that got a ring as well.
I'm not familiar.
Rams? Eric Dickerson?
Was that like early thousands?
Yeah, greatest show on turf.
Yeah, and he was with, was it Kurt Warner?
Kurt Warner, Bruce Smith.
Yeah, that was a good team.
I forget the name of the other one. I forget the name of the other receiver. Getting a couple other comments here. He gonna be expensive. I don't know if you're talking about Daniel or Saquon, but
yes,
yes. Higgins for a second and third. If we could get him for a second,
I would do that in a second.
Yeah, if we could get him, I don't think he would go for
that.
I
think he's worth the first round draft pick.
Yeah, I was about to say, but at the same time, he's gonna be a free agent, so that's kind of a Leonard Williams situation all over again. Might as well just wait for him to hit free agency at that point. Jackson Smith-Njigba and Johnson are my 2 favorite wide receivers out of the draft. Any thoughts on that?
Those are some good receivers. Smith-Njigba is from what I've heard, more so a slot receiver than anything. And we already are kind of loading up on that. But he's
We've
also
drafted slot receivers a lot.
but he's pretty good. And I feel like we already have two pretty good slot receivers in Richie James and Wando Robinson. I don't think they're like amazing or anything. I think Jake was definitely better. So if you want to make that upgrade and you want to run your offense through the slot, you can do that. Then that'll move the chains more frequently. That'll make you more consistent. But I think that's not really the problem the team's having. I think the team needs more explosive plays. So you're going to want a big outside receiver. I want a receiver that's going to block like Kenny Galladay, but catch the football. And run.
But also, makes plays on the field other than just blocking.
Yeah, that would be nice. I also, if we do move on from Saquon, I mean, running back, as you said, is one of the more.
Did you have a chance to look at anybody in the draft yet?
No, I'm so glad I haven't. It's January 24th.
Yeah, I'm really glad I haven't.
The past 2 years, I was already banging the table for a guy.
I'm like, I think the fans that have, they're like the super, super big football fans. Because I'm like, I don't know how y'all did it, man. I was so entrenched.
It's so much harder to prepare for the draft when your team is drafting so late.
Even then, though, it's like I was having such a good time that I'm just like, how did y'all have time, or how does your mind go to let me look at some draft prospects?
Maybe after we
that's how you're a really big football fan. Like that's you're a really
the Vikings. There were a few pessimistic fans that were like, "All right, we had our time. Let's look at some draft boards." I've seen a few mock drafts. I'll watch the mock draft video, right, and I'll scrub directly to where the Giants pick, and I'll see who we're taking. And I've seen Jordan Addison in like all of them.
And Diggy, as you guys know, not a great Giants content creator, friend of the channel. Yeah, I think Jordan Addison is his guy too in terms of wide receiver. And by the way, Bishop, thank you. Torrey Holt, that was the other receiver on the Rams at that time.
Jacob, I went to UCF. I would be so incredibly, insanely happy if we got Gabe Davis, but I think he's going to be so expensive.
Yeah, he is.
He just produces so much. Like, he's a great wide receiver too. Honestly, he might be a wide receiver one on a lot of teams, but because he's lining up next to Stephon Diggs, he's not wide receiver one. That's probably part of why he gets a lot of production. But he's also just great hands, great route running, just quality hard worker. I remember at UCF there was one play where he dropped a wide open pass, and I think since then he's been hitting the jugs machine constantly. Great guy, but yeah.
What are you looking at?
I'm looking at JP talking about the Niners.
Got you.
Yeah, the Niners aren't going to be in a great spot after this year. I'm rooting for the Niners. I'm rooting for the Niners hard this weekend.
Brock Purdy going to take care of business. I thoroughly believe in that.
I don't thoroughly believe. I believe, but I don't thoroughly. That Eagles defense is nasty, and that Niners defense is nasty. We might see an ugly game.
I'm telling you right here, right now, Brock Purdy versus Joe Burrow is the Super Bowl.
I hope so. I mean, I think you're only saying that because Mahomes tweaked his ankle.
I mean, even before that, though, like
that's more.
Burrow beat a healthy Mahomes last year.
That's true.
He beat a healthy Mahomes last year in his building. Like, that's not a far-fetched thing. Getting back to the Giants, though, what's the biggest position of need for us? Wide receiver, corner, linebacker, interior lineman. What are you looking at?
A linebacker. After the Eagles game, the fact that when I was watching the first half, I did watch the first half. The fact that I said they're going to line up and they were going to run the ball because they figured that they knew we're bad at defending the run, and watching Gainwell get the 12, 15, 20 yards, Jalen Smith is lost, as Nova was talking about. The linebacker position is so weak. I don't think do we even have a linebacker two, like a middle linebacker two on other teams? Would our linebackers, our starting linebackers, would they even be backups on other teams? Maybe.
I think they'd definitely be backups on other teams, yeah.
It's so bad, though. Was that what a backup linebacker looks like? I guess that's all we've really
as a backup, like we're looking at it with starter expectations. That's why we're looking at it like that.
Some other teams have some better depth at the position that it's not that bad when the backups come in.
Only some. Like a very few.
I want to be that. I want to be the Niners.
You want to be the Niners and the Eagles. And Joe Shade said, that's what he's going to work on. He's going to work on closing that talent gap.
It's going to take some time. You definitely can get quality linebackers in later rounds, though. You can get a starting middle linebacker in the 3rd or 4th round if you draft well, I'd say. I mean, didn't we pass up, who was it? Frank on the Niners. What's his full name?
Fred Warner.
Fred Warner. That was so
Frank.
Frank. No, there's probably a Frank linebacker somewhere out there. Fred Warner. Yeah, we passed up on him twice.
Yeah, I mean, every team technically passed up on him at least 3 times.
Yeah, but
in
like
the 3rd
twice
round.
within 10 picks.
Yeah, we took BJ Hill
and Lorenzo Carter.
We only BJ Hill was the 2nd, 3rd round pick, right?
I thought I saw something that had them both.
I think BJ Hill was the 2nd, 3rd round pick.
I'm pretty sure we took them both before he was off the board.
Yeah, we took them both before he was off the board. He went the pick after BJ Hill was drafted. Yeah. And BJ Hill, to his credit, is a really good interior defensive lineman. He's
it would be nice if we kept those. We should keep those.
It would have been nice if we kept BJ Hill, because he's part of the Cincinnati team that went to the Super Bowl last year, and now they're making another run, and he's definitely an integral part of their defensive line.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I'm a little bit upset with Ojulari getting injured so much. I hope he stays healthy next season. He's great.
Yeah, some people are considering taking his replacement, which is like, I don't blame you necessarily, but another part of me is like, all right, I want to see in his 3rd year if the injuries continue, and if they do, then yeah, we're definitely gonna have to look into.
I think that's
replacing them just from an injury standpoint.
It's a coachable position. Like, you do need to have some raw talent, but sometimes players slip because all they have is raw talent. So you might be able to replace that position further on in the draft. You don't necessarily have to take a 2nd or 1st round swing at edge rusher. I think that middle linebacker and cornerback are more important, as well as wide receiver. There's too many needs on this team to focus on edge when you have Kayvon already. And I think Ojulari isn't necessarily needing to be replaced unless, his situation gets worse.
Yeah.
Beavers being our Mike would be great. I do like
if he comes back healthy. I'm a big Gary Beavers fan,
and I'd like to have Flott be a starting nickel if he could gain some weight and be able to tackle people.
I expect Cordell definitely to gain some weight, just like I expect Evan Neal to be better in his 2nd season, and Giants fans are already giving up on him.
I'm not giving up. It does suck to watch, I will say, but he did not have the rookie season that Andrew Thomas had. I think that some people like to have that argument. It's not even close to the truth. Like, Andrew Thomas had a pretty good 2nd half of the season. Andrew
Thomas had a great 2nd half of the season. Evan Neal was improving until he got that injury, and then it was kind of stepped back after he got the injury.
That's fair.
But that's why where I'm like, other than the fact that he's a rookie, I feel like it's stupid for anybody to give up on a rookie unless, like, especially with somebody with Neal's background, I should say. Let me be clear to myself. It's not like he's Alex Letterwood and then he had a bad season. And no, this is Evan Neal. He was one of the best tackles in the country. Had a bad season. Was improving, had that injury, took a step back. And like I already said earlier in the show, I don't even know if Bobby Johnson's the right guy to coach him up. There's things going on there. Injury coaching. We'll see.
Is Bobby Johnson still a line coach?
He didn't get fired.
These names, there's so many in my head. Swimming around.
Like, he definitely did not get fired. I don't know if they got a replacement, but yeah.
Nah. Who did we have last year?
Good question. I can't remember. Oh yeah, Rob Sale.
Rob Sale
was our offensive line coach last year. Yeah. Let me get your last thoughts though, Chris.
The Eagles suck. Hate the Eagles. And I really hope that I'm looking forward to getting more involved in draft content. Again, just watching a bunch more videos, figuring out who we're going to want to pick. Probably going to take Addison, but no, probably going to take Addison. But I would like to take Addison. I'd like to take a wide receiver in the 1st round. That's all.
Got you. No problem, Chris. Have a good one, man. Peace. Let's see here. Let me look at the chat. Giants going to be a lot more balanced, I think, next year, assuming we get a top 30 wide receiver. Okay. Aaron Robertson. That's a name. It's a name I haven't heard of in like at least a year, man. Wow. Mr. Stummy, Senior Stummy, always with the tummy injuries. Nova says, Flott needs to bulk up and Evan Neal hate is corny. I forgot to bring that up. Yeah, the Evan Neal hate was getting out of hand on Twitter, bro. People were really saying, like, they were already fully like, cut this man, trade this man. It was crazy on Twitter. maybe let go of Bobby Johnson. If there's a replacement, I'm for it. And of course, it comes down to what Dable and Shane think about it. If they feel like he did a good job, he'll be kept. But I don't know. I am suspect on Bobby Johnson. That's all I gotta say about him. Crazy how people said Cross was the worst of the 3 tackles. He produced the most out of the 3. I never got people that put like the worst like label on him. Looking back on it, my guy Akeem Ekwonu, that was the one I wanted to draft. It. He was like the most raw out of all of them, but he was an absolute monster just of size and strength, like just physical ability. He was top of the line. Evan Neal was like the most technically proficient one, and then with Charles Cross, everybody said he was the best pass protector out of the 3, is what it was. But I definitely do get what you mean in terms of like he was the one ranked 3 out of 3 out of those 3. So yeah. And Abraham Lucas was somebody else I really liked the Seahawks got as well on the other side of their line. Robinson is expendable at this point. But guys, that's gonna be it unless somebody else calls in. I'm always, love to talk to you guys. The point of this show is to talk to you guys. So I'm gonna close it out right here. Our way. Hopefully next year, as my pit stains are showing. Hopefully next year, not only whatever their playoff slogan is, hopefully it gets delivered sooner. Fanatics.com. I ordered this the same day it dropped, and it only arrived today, and my team is out the playoffs. I would have liked to had it for the Saturday night matchup, but it didn't come in time. But guys, shout out to all you. I do think that we will be back in the playoffs very soon. I think that this team can only go up, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that we have elite coaching and we have a really good general manager that's going to have really his first real offseason with the team, man. But that's it for now, guys. Love you all, and I'm out. Peace.